for stopping by. If you're looking for a very unique and different summer appetizer, be happy you're here because that's exactly what I'm making today. I'm making stuffed tomatoes. It has a Spanish heritage. It's a wonderful meal. It's inherently gluten and dairy free, which is one of the many reasons I love it. And it's so different. You show up at a cookout or a family gathering with this dish and people are going to be talking about you the entire night. It's really a pretty easy recipe, a little bit of prep, and the first thing you're going to want to do is start with the hard-boiled eggs. Obviously, it takes some time to hard-boil eggs, so you want to get those in the water and get those boiling and ready before you move on. And then comes the tomatoes, and you have a choice with the tomatoes. You can choose the little bite-sized tomato, or you can choose the medium-sized, sort of a bite if you're have a big mouth tomato, but this could be a 2-biter actually. I actually prefer these. These are Campari tomatoes. They come on the vine. They're very sweet and delicate and delicious. And then these are obviously grape tomatoes. And I'm going to use both of them and show you how to stuff each one. So when you prepare your tomatoes, if you're starting with the grape tomato, you're going to slice it lengthwise, and then you're going to cut out the guts. And then, as you can see, I have the tomatoes facing downward with a piece of paper towel there because I'm letting all the liquid drain out of them. And so you'll put them down on a piece of towel. A little bit different with the larger tomatoes is you're going to cut the top off, then you're going to cut around the inside and then scoop it out with a spoon and then put it face down on the plate on the paper towel so it drains. So it'll be draining the whole time that you're prepping everything else. So I have decided that I'm going to use this wonderful cutting board as my serving piece. So I'm going to take the tomatoes and I'm going to put them on here in some sort of, I'm not really worried about the arrangement because I still have to stuff them, but I'm just going to put them on here to get them off of the paper towel so I can work with them. Okay, other than chopping some of the ingredients, the only other prep work is to make the garlic aioli. Now, typically, aiolis are made from scratch with egg yolks and garlic and lemon juice, and I just wanted to make this a little bit easier. So I took some high-quality mayonnaise, and then I minced some garlic. And the thing you want to do with the garlic is you want to make a bit of a paste of it because you don't want the little pieces of garlic in your aioli. So you put it down on a cutting board, you add a little kosher salt, or in my case, I used Maldon sea salt, and then use the side of your knife and you just press down and push a few times, and that starts to make a paste. Then you add that to the mayonnaise along with some lemon juice, and voila, you've got some aioli. I'm going to add that to my bowl. Okay, everybody in the bowl. The next major ingredient, the hard-boiled eggs we talked about earlier. Breadcrumbs, gluten-free, of course. Pine nuts gives a nice little crunch, and these were toasted. I put them in a fry pan and put them on about medium to high heat, and I watched them like a hawk, because if you don't, they're going to burn, and you're going to have to toast them all over again. So as soon as you start to smell the aroma of the nut, whatever nut you're toasting, in this case the pine nuts, you're pretty much done. And you want to shake them up a little bit as you go along. And like I said, do not leave the side of the stove. You will burn them. And then we have some black olive and then some basil. And with the basil, I chiffonaded it, which means I take the leaves, I put them all on top of each other, I roll them up, and then I slice, and they come into these beautiful little strings. And then I also kind of went back through and did a very rough chop so that they weren't all stringy in here. And I have a little bit of this left for garnish, so I'm not going to put all of it in, but I'm going to put a fair amount of it in. Okay, that should be good. Okay, it's mixing time. This is going to be chunky, so don't be concerned, but it's also going to be moist enough that it basically sticks to each other and makes a nice little paste. Okay, I have the consistency I'm looking for. I said the word paste. That sounds bad. You don't want to eat paste. It's very thick, but it has a bit of a viscosity to it. Now I'm going to add just a little hit of lemon juice here, and then also some kosher salt and pepper. Okay, this has really amazing flavor. The fresh basil just pops. The pine nuts give it a little bit of a crunch. The black olives give it depth of flavor, and of course that delicious black olive flavor. And the eggs are really the base, and the mayonnaise aioli is the glue that holds everything together. Okay, so now we're ready to stuff. And I'm not going to lie to you, this is going to be challenging when it comes to these. It's not a pretty process. I think I actually may need my glasses for this. So I'm going to take a little bit. I think for these grape tomatoes are so small, I'm just going to take some of my fingers and stick it right in there. And then look at that. Look how cute that is. That's a perfect little bite. And if you press it down and onto the board, it's going to flatten out at the bottom and you should be fine. So let me put a little bit more. And you can stuff these as much or as little as you want. Like I said, the bigger tomatoes are my favorite, but this is a cute little presentation as well. Stay. Okay, so now I'm going to get in. These are going to be much easier to do. Challenging, little tomatoes, not so challenging these. Okay, so I'm going to get this in here. And you want to stuff it down there. You want this to be pretty stuffed. You don't want to offer stuffed tomatoes and then there's really no stuffing. That's not good. Okay. So you can go to the top here and call it a day. I'm going to add just a little bit more on here. And then kind of clean myself up a little so I have a nice, pretty presentation. And there you go. That one, and I'm going to push it down to kind of flatten it so it stands up. And there he is. He's standing, not rolling around. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to eat one. I like to use my hands to really kind of get it in here and form it to the shape and presentation that I want. Always have a paper towel ready. These are a bit of work, but the flavor is just so worth it. They're so unique and interesting. I have a few of them filled. You know how this is going to end. I'm going to fill them all. I'm going to serve them. We're all going to be happy. So I'm just going to go ahead and eat. Now this guy is pretty filled. I'm not going to lie, but it's going to give me a good bite. So I'm going in. I love the savoriness of this. And then that basil just pops and gives you a burst of flavor. And the crunchiness of both the pine nuts and the tomatoes themselves are really, really wonderful. I really enjoy this. I'm not going to take a bite of that because that's a lot of it. These are my favorite size, as I've said. But these are so cute in the one bite. So if you've got the patience to fill these, that's what it's really going to boil down to, patience. I don't have the kind of patience that you probably have. So that's why I like the bigger ones. So you do whatever you want. You could even use a Roma tomato, slice it horizontally, scoop it out. If you do that, make sure that the Roma tomato is very, very ripe. Otherwise, you're going to get a little bit hard of a skin on there, and it's going to be too crunchy and too much tomato. But experiment. Try other tomatoes. Do your own thing. I'm taking my glasses off now. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you make this, take it to a party, and everybody loves it. It's really unique and wonderful. A link to the full recipe, you can find that in the description below, or go to gfexplorers.com where this recipe and so many more are. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. We'd really appreciate it. And give us a thumbs up. That helps us greatly. And until next time, happy eating.